Hi, this is Iris Weiss at the Polyform Products Design Center, and we're here today to discuss antiquing clay. I've incorporated an antiqued clay letter into this mixed media project that I've done, and I'm going to show you how to do the project, but mostly we're going to concentrate on the antiquing. First, we're going to start with a paper mache word, and what we want to do is trace around all the letters so we can put some nice scrapbooking paper on them. And I'll show you how we do that. I lay it on the back of the paper, and I usually use a mechanical pencil to trace around things, and the reason I do that is because I can have more lead coming out of the pencil and I can get closer to the letters or whatever I'm tracing. So what I'm going to do is just go around the letters just like this. Okay, hard to see because of the pattern, but what I do now is I just use my X-Acto knife and just cut around the letters. And you don't have to be that exact because there's a way to hide if you cut too close and a way to trim off if you cut too far away. So what we're going to wind up with are the letters, and we're going to set them aside while we put the clay V on. Now I have a sheet of textured clay right here. This is Peacock Pearl, Primo Peacock Pearl, which I mixed with a little regular pearl. So we have that sheet ready to go, and I use Bacon Bond, and I put some Bacon Bond all over the letter, just helps it stick on better. I'm not a neat freak because it kind of comes out nice because there are ways to hide when you do things that you don't like. Okay, so once I have the Bacon Bond on, I try and get it all the way to the edges so it holds the clay on. I do want to say one thing about antiquing, about adhering things to paper mache or to wood. There are a lot of different methods. I'm showing you mine. It's worked for me. I've done tons of these. Okay, so I put the clay over the letter. I flip it over, I hold it in my hand, and I just trim around the letter. Okay. Now I just finish off the edges here. And come on, that was easy to do. And if there's any part that you see that you don't like or doesn't come directly to the edge, you know, one great thing about clay, it stretches a little bit. And you could trim anything you don't like afterwards. I'm just going to trim this one little area here. Okay. I'm going to take this, put it in a 275-degree oven. I'm probably going to bake this for about 20 minutes. And by the magic of video, we have one that's all baked already. Now at this point, I'm going to antique the letter. I'm going to take a little extra time here to explain to you exactly how I do this. People use many different kinds of paints to do this. I use these craft paints. There's lots of different brands out there. They all pretty much work the same for me. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to antique this V in a brown color because my whole turquoise and brown theme here. One thing that I do when I'm working on a paper mache thing like this is, first I'm going to shake this up a little. I put this out. Usually at home, I put it out on my dish that we eat on, but here I'm trying to be a little professional. I usually work on newsprint. It's not as easy to see, but I do go around the edges of everything before I start antiquing. You don't have to live through that with me, but that's what I do. Okay. And I especially go along these edges just in case the paper doesn't quite come up to where it's supposed to, although I really haven't had that experience. And another thing I do, because I know that I'm going to be putting paper right next to this, I usually lift this up a little so I can put the paper right underneath. But you don't have to do that. I mean, it's just like how you do it yourself. Okay, you could use a sponge brush, one of these guys. You could use a paper towel to do this. I just use a regular paintbrush and I go over the whole thing and I just fill in the whole thing. I'm sure you realize here what we want to do is get into all the depressed areas. Now I made this pattern using the Sculpey texture sheet, the large sheet in the edgy set. Now I'm sure you're thinking antiquing, you're going to either put black or brown on, but you could put any color you want on. Great, so I have that done. I kind of let it sit for a tiny bit. And then I take a wet paper towel and I just wipe it off. Easy, huh? If you wipe too much off in an area and you go like, ooh, I really wish there was a little bit more paint there, you have plenty of time to add this. Okay, since I'm working on a wall hanging that I don't think is going to get wet or exposed to anything, I just let this dry just like this. However, if you're working on a piece that you feel is going to be handled a lot, what you might do is you could take this entire thing, put it back in the oven for 10 or 15 minutes, and it sets the heat of the oven, also at 275, sets the paint. Another thing you can do is when this is all dry, you could put some kind of glaze on it. Satin glaze or a gloss glaze. Okay, we're going to do all the edges brown. Then I use the Scotch quick dry adhesive to put all papers down. I think it works just fantastically. And I just go, no, 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 no. These sound effects are for free. And it's quick dry, but it certainly gives you enough time to put the letters down or anything else that you are going to adhere. Okay, remember I made that little indentation? I just slipped that right under there just to get it to fit perfectly. And you have time to position all of this. That's pretty good. Okay, you know, some of the edges don't match, and what we're going to do is we're going to just take some ink and we're going to ink around the edges here a little. This is a little too wet. I usually do it with a dry brush. So, but you can certainly take some of the paint off. Another thing is, if there's an area, I could feel one right here, if there's an area that's overlapping, I usually use a nail file. Just scrape it down. That works pretty good. I forgot who told me that. And what I have, I'm just going to place this here. I'm not gluing it down. Okay, have all this, the edges are brown, and I collect all kinds of embellishments. I'm gonna bring these over and show you. And what I do is I'll take my word and I just start putting different embellishments down in different places and just see how it looks. I have, I love these industrial chic embellishments. You know, maybe it's overlapping here. Have some other stuff here. And if you're putting down metal, the Scotch adhesive might not work because some of the metals are very heavy, and so you'll want to use this trusty red tape, which really isn't red. It's our favorite here at Polyform. Okay, what you would do is take the embellishment you're interested in, put a piece of the red tape down, and this is the tricky part, taking the red part off. And I hope I don't have to stay here for a long time to show you how to do this. It must be some little trick that I don't know, but once you get it off, I don't think I do have it off. Anyway, once you get it off, you just have to put it down, and it really holds onto the paper. It's fantastic. You know, I just kind of look at what I have and put everything down, and once everything's glued down, I let it dry and have something just like this. So I hope you got the hang of antiquing. As I said, I use the craft paints. People use acrylic paint that comes in the tube, and there are some people that use oil paints. They just put it in and wipe it off with Terpenol, just like I did with the water. I hope you enjoyed working with me today.